So here I am again. Because I do so much with cars, I decided to try to polish up, like it shows here in this picture right here. Basically, the headlights. So I've taped them off, and I started with the pad right here where you see. It basically gives in every car parts store. You can basically go and sand all the yellow off your car, just like you see here. Sanded all the old stuff off with the first pad. I'm basically going to go through 3 steps now. I've taped it off, and I'm using a 1600 RPM drill. And as you see, it's really rough, and if you look really close, you can see the grain, how the sander, practically the sand pad that I got, takes all the yellow off the headlight. The headlight that you see here, this color right here, is basically how the headlight looked. So I didn't really have to change much, and after I sanded it all off, I got that same color back. So I've got basically the ground thing for making it better. So I'm going to go through the 3 steps basically. This right here is on a Grand Am. I was working on earlier with the ABS cable that does the traction control, and now I'm going on to the other one. I've already done the other side. The car is a 2002 model. I basically, from what you saw on that side, I did on this side. You can see there's still fine things that I have to work on with getting them out, but I'm going to try to do that in the summer again. I can only do so much with one pad, and because I had to do 2 lights, they're basically made for 2 lights, but I had already used this on another vehicle before. So I had taped it off before. You see the tape marks, and basically the light sanding from the plastic. See it on my hands as well. I've taken it off now, and basically that's how it looks. That's right there's from my hand, moisture on my hand. But yeah, headlights looks really good compared to this. Yeah, so I'm going to work on this, and you'll see this step by step as I get it done. I'll take a little video of it. So here, as I started to sand it, I've noticed from the first sanding, I'm going to go back a little bit. From the first, I've noticed some impurities, so I'm going to wipe this off and go back to the first step, because on the first step I noticed that I had a lot of areas which are hard to see without dust. So if you look down here closely around this little knob here, that right there is basically the old lamp that I forgot to get. And as I started sanding the other with the second pad, I noticed this area that needs to be taken off as well. And as I go along here, there are a few areas that hadn't had, and they're naturally hard to get to, of course, they hadn't had that old lamp taken off. So I'm going to have to go over with the first sander and try to get that off before I go on to the next sander. Whereas I just tried, and as you see, the lamp is already looking a little bit smoother just from the second thing. I went over it once, but now that I've seen these, I'm going to have to go and get the other light, or the other sander, or sand grade, and go over those again as well. Okay, so I basically went back over it. As you see, it's all dusty. I'm going to wipe that off. This is the smoother one. I try not to press too hard. It even instructs you not to press too hard. This is the optimal way to do your headlight. This car is my mother's. She's had it for quite some time. It's been out in the weather. She didn't have it in the garage. So naturally stuff like this happens. The sun, UV rays, so on and so forth. So I finally done the around the corners here first, and then I went to the finer. And you see, as I get finer and finer, the light gets smoother and smoother. If you look closer, you can see the ribs of the drill that I've sanded. I try to sand slightly, pressure on it, moving back and forth in order not to have it clot. Because when it heats up, it'll bundle in that one area, and you'll have to sand it down again. So what I'm doing is I'm going over it. That was the first go at it. You can go up to 4 or 5 times to make it smooth as possible, and you still see grain in it. Like I said, this is a second step into a 4-step process. So let me get that done, and I'll show you how it looks after that. Okay, so I've basically gone over it again 4 to 5 times. Yeah, it's looking pretty much the same. I'm going to take now a little bit of water and another pad that I used on the other side, which is this one. We're going to put a little water on it, dampen it, so not too much water, and I'm going to rub back and forth, and you'll see the first breakthrough of how clear it can get and how clear it will get eventually. So let me do that, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, this is something I'm going to show you. Right now while I'm sanding, you'll see this. It's like a sludge build up. That's basically the plastic that the sander is breaking away, but the moisture is building up to a sludge. Okay, this is almost how you want to see it. That sludge buildup there is what you want. So I'm going to pass over this 3 or 4 times, and the more I do this, the clearer the lens is going to get. So you'll eventually see a very clear lens. I'm going to keep on passing over this, moist, and I have only sprayed it once, really fine mist over it, and I'm going back and forth till that basically dries, but I don't want to let it dry too much. I'm going to keep it as moist as possible, and then I'm going to wipe it down before I do the final compound step. So be patient. Okay, now if you look at it, you'll see I've sanded it down with moisture, and it's getting clearer and clearer. This last process that I have to do is I'm going to use some compound. Compound is really fine. It's got a little marble paste in it. That marble paste is pretty much, or marble dust, is pretty much going to smooth this thing off. And you'll see as the compound disappears, you can wipe it away and it'll get clearer and clearer. How clear it's going to get depends on how good or how well you've done it. I'm going to do these in summer again, so I'm not going to do so much this time. I'm just going to go and put some compound on it now, about a dime size. This is a dirty pad, but on a dime size in the middle of this pad. And it's only dirty because it's rubbing the yellow that's still on the lens off as well. So you're going to get that, and it gets into the corners really well. So that's why you see it more so on the corners than in the middle. That's going to get so clear, and you can hardly see, but if you look really well, you can still see where the drill has gone along the side of it. Basically use a drill with a pad. This is a Velcro pad on the top. This peels off, and you can put your next pad on. It's a little hard to do this with one hand, but it peels off. This was the pad where I had moisture on it. This pad is the fine pad, the last before you actually take the compound and put the compound on. So regular drill, 1600 RPMs. Taped up the light, basically, put the sanded the first layer down. I did about 4 or 5 passes. Went to the second type of sandpaper, which is a little finer, which gives me that nice deep down look, and I can look and see if I have to go back to see if there's still yellow areas that need to be sanded down furthermore. So as you see, it's getting better, but it's not yet what I want, so I'm going to go over it again with the compound, making it an immaculate difference. And I'm going to go back here and show you this one. This is how this one turned out. Like I said, it's 2002. I didn't do a lot of work on it, but it's getting there. We're making that step.